TVC Sport Desk.
Thanks for staying tuned. It's still Sports Desk. Now let's turn our attention to the camp of the Super Eagles. Preparations for the 2024 African Nations Cup kicked off in Ikenne, Remo, Ogun State, where the home-based Eagles have converged. Now we know that the camp was declared open on Monday, the 7th of July, and 21 players were available for the first training session as Super Eagles manager Eric Chell took charge of physical and tactical drills under the floodlights and lush green pitch. 14 more players are expected to join the squad on Tuesday, and Nigeria have been drawn alongside defending champions Senegal, Sudan, as well as Congo. Now, joining the team, joining us on the show is Promise Afoge, the media manager of the Super Eagles, who is in camp with the players and will be giving us the latest updates from camp. Promise, good evening. What's the latest in the camp of the Super Eagles in terms of arrivals?
All right, Samson, glad to be on the show this evening from the Ikenne Shagamu camp. Their football in the domestic league here in Nigeria. Let me tell you that 5 more players have joined the squad today. So we have 26 players in camp as we speak. That's 9 more players still being expected before training later tonight. And so at the moment, we've got 26 players in camp. Camp opened yesterday, Monday, just one training session on the floodlight because the coach wanted the arrivals. The players who arrived yesterday, many of them traveled long distances from their bases across Nigeria into Ogun State. So the coach was fair enough to, he really want the players to rest, catch some breath, get some sleep before training was held yesterday, because I've had a couple of questions that have been directed to me asking that why the Eagles trained on the floodlight yesterday, knowing fully well that the majority of the group stage matches that will be played at the CHAN tournament will be played earlier than the time at which the team trained yesterday. It was simply to ensure that the 21 players that came in on day one of camping got enough rest before they hit the pitch. So as we speak, Samson, we've got 26 players in camp. Gordon Obadje of Rangers turned in today. Musa Zayed of El Kanemi Warriors also came in today. Aminu Adam of Kano Pillars came in today. Anas Yusuf of Nasarawa United came in today. So also Kabiru Mohammed of Kwara United. He was part of the team that won the FA Cup just a few days ago. He's arrived the Super Eagles B camp here in the Ikenne Remo. So 26 players in camp. One training session was held this morning. It was very intense, and another will be held this evening. It was supposed to be 5 p.m. local time, but as we speak, it is raining here in Ogun State. So I am pretty sure the coach may have to reschedule his plans for training this evening.
You preempted my next question, which is, the weather. We know quite well that the players will hit camp most likely today, but what will training sessions be like now? Because the weather definitely isn't conducive for football at this point in time, and it's also unpredictable. Where does that leave the coaching crew in terms of getting the players ready for camp, especially with the coach still having the difficult task of pruning the squad to make the list? Right now, you have 35 players invited in camp. Not all 35 will make, the trip down to the African Nations Championship. So, looking at the weather, how does this impede or interrupt the preparations of the team and the coach's plans to really look at these players wholesomely and then make that difficult decision?
Well, the team that qualified the nation for the African Nations Championship will form the fulcrum of the CHAN Eagles. A certain, compendium of players qualified the nation for the tournament. They are all here in camp as well. About 12 more were added to that number of players to compete for places, because we know football, sometimes form can be temporal, but of course we know that class is permanent. From the time the team qualified for CHAN and now, a lot of things may have happened to these players in terms of their form. It's off season. We know the NPFL ended a few weeks ago. These players have been off season, and so the coaches felt it was important, to expand the dragnet and give other players a chance. And those that were not given the opportunity during the qualifiers, this is their chance to prove their mettle and prove that they are deserving of a place in the Eagles B team to the African Nations Championship. And so it is competition in every department, from the goalkeepers to the defenders, to the midfield, to the attack. A lot of competition in every position. That is what Eric Shell is all about. Even in the main team, I'm talking about the Super Eagles A team. You know, we've got players in every department on the pitch to compete for shirt. And so under Eric Shell, Super Eagles, whether A or B, it's a case of if you snooze, you lose. I mean, if you snooze, you lose your place to another player who, I mean, has perhaps same capacity, same intensity, same expertise. And I mean, if you snooze, you lose, because you could lose your jersey at any point in time. But as far as this team is concerned, they've got just 3 weeks to the tournament. So if you ask me, I think the team is pretty behind schedule in terms of preparations. But again, the coaches have said 3 weeks is enough time to prepare this team for the African Nations Championship, knowing fully well that all the while, these players have been playing for their club sides in the domestic league just before the NPFL ended. And so it was fair enough to allow them, I mean, take a break.
Okay.
I mean, being a footballer does not mean you have to kill yourself. You know, they were deserving of the break that they had, proud to come into camp to begin preparations for the CHAN tournament. And we know Eric Shell, the way he trains. I mean, his trainings are always very intense. You know, I was telling someone, these new guys here, I mean, coming to work under Eric Shell, it's going to be a new feeling, a new experience for them, because his training methodologies are quite different. I mean, you have to be strong. You must be physical as a player, you know, to be able to feature under this Franco-Malian. So our preparations will go well. Yeah, it's raining, but I'm sure he will not cancel training today. I can assure you that.
Okay.
The weather, he will train. Even if it means day training on that day, he will do so.
Playing football under the rain is definitely an intriguing experience, it must be said. Thanks so much for your time on the show, Promise Fugi.
All right.